The 2025 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.
Yeah, Sean, after race one earlier on in the production, of course, we saw phenomenal action with Clint Seller taking Class A, Class B going to Jason Lamb, and Class B going to Graham Van Breda. But here at round 3, second race is about to kick off. We did mention the future looks good in the sport. There is a huge amount of smaller fraternity in the ZX10 Masters Cup looking to take it on. But let's go and catch up with our race 1 winner from Class C, Jason Lamb.
So Jason Lamb, what a first race there of round 3. It was like a 4-way battle there for third place, and it looks like you kept it there to the end.
No, it was absolutely unbelievable. It was a long race, I must be honest, but I knew Slucky and Graham were there. I just thought if I make no mistakes, they can't pass me. Slucky managed to pass me into turn 4 the last lap, but I knew I could get him back at 5, and then we just hung in there, so it was really good.
Awesome, well done.
Thank you so much.
Some more for race 2 now. Another second a lap off, eh? Another second a lap off.
We'll try.
There we go. Best of luck.
1 second a lap. Sounds like absolutely nothing, but when you're so evenly matched amongst the riders in each of your respective classes, particularly here in ZX10 Masters Cup, that 1 second is a massive margin to try and find. We've seen some massive improvements, of course, from the riders due to the fact that Clint Seller has joined the party. Alan John Fenter was here for a while. We've got the likes of Damien Purificati setting the pace, and multiple champions in Graham Van Breda and championship rivals in Jason Lamb at the front end of the field. Seller, of course, has not been bettered this entire season, so it's all about trying to catch that King Price Kawasaki. But that is not an easy task, and especially when he starts on pole position, going to make it even more difficult for these riders. You see a couple of little changes and maybe a few tweaks to the tyre pressures, with temperatures going slightly higher up here at Zwartkops. There is a small breeze, which might have a little bit of effect on the braking, particularly down into turn 4. Steve Galgocci looks like he's good to go. And once Seller's finished up with his PR exercises, with all the fans getting up close and personal, it looks like we'll be ready to go. Some of the guys need a little bit of extra help there by the looks of things, hey JLR? And yes, the lunch of champions, exactly what we thought. It's not a bad lunch to go with there. That Russian might come back and speak to you during lap number 9 though. We'll see what happens about that one. Mr. TRP, Ian Harwood there showing us exactly what it's all about in terms of his nutritional choice to keep him upright and keep him at the front end of his little battle in classes A, B and C of each of the respective categories here. Getting on the bikes and getting ready to go. Let's bring him to the line. It's time for a bit of eyes on the prize. Seller on pole once again. Difficult man to beat from that position. He's not going to be starting from the back of the pack as we saw in race number 1 and what we saw at the previous round down in PE. Alongside him, Damien Purificati, with Nicole this time hitting the memo and bringing the umbrella out. The second row is a tough row. It's a very, very seasoned campaigner in Hein McMahon, taking in Adrian Van Dalen, who'll be pushing through to try and get up ahead. Let's get race 2 underway now and come down under starters orders on the warm-up lap, getting a little bit of heat into the rubber here for the race action that's about to unfold for ZX10 Masters Cup race 2. Oh, problems on the warm-up lap. Tyron Piper pulling to the sideline. That is not good for Tyron Piper. That's been a tough day for him. As we saw, a little bit of issues in race number 1. Looks like he tried to get it all sorted out. Doesn't look like it's worked out though, unfortunately, and possibly gone into limp mode. He's got the bike fired up again, but I think he's going to just park it behind the newly formed tyre barrier there. Of course, it's a double set of airbags that they put up there to increase the safety factor for all the riders here. And that's the big crowd that's stuck around now for race 2 action here at Zwartkops International World of Motoring. Standing by, we go aerial material here from our drone, looking back at a very strong field of ZX10 Masters Cup riders about to go to battle yet again for honours in classes A, B and C. Seller is the man to catch. As you can see there, he set the pace. He was almost 2.5 seconds up the road. But Purificati had a very, very big battle initially with Jason Lamb, eventually got away from Lamb, and then just could not catch Seller in race number 1. Let's see what happens a bit further back in the pack as well. We saw some fantastic battles with Henk Kruger, Dieter Hazeman and Renatus van Niekerk, with Jacques Cruz joining that. Galgocci wasn't quite there, but he certainly found a little bit of extra pace now, and I'm sure in race number 2 when that red mist comes down, we're going to be seeing him up in that fight as well. Mid-pack as well, we also saw some great fights between Agliotti, Sviso Temba eventually getting up into the single digits, as I said, and Brian Bontekoning pushing hard to try and get up there, but only in second place for Class C, so he's got a little bit of work to do to try and catch Jason Lamb here in race number 2. Stand by. Lights go out. We go racing down towards turn 1. Good start from Vanbredar on the inside. Looks like he might have actually just squeezed ahead there of Damien Purificati as they go into turn 1. Sella was around the outside. He'll hold that outside line, and into turn 2 he'll be trying to get the whole shot and maintain it there. That's Galgocci at the back of the pack. It is Sella that leads out, and yes, Vanbredar did get through. Jason Lamb might have snuck up into third. He tries to get on the inside of Damien Purificati going into turn 2 Cashel corner. Didn't quite make it stick though. Everybody looks like they've stayed upright. Might have been a little bit of issues in the background for one of the motorcycles. I'm not quite sure who that was. Slowing up just on the right of the shot coming out of turn 1, just at the pit exit. But we'll keep an eye on that as they go through and complete the first couple of corners. This is Hein McMahon's point of view going down towards turn 1 and 2. Great to see this as they fly down into turn 1 and pitch it over. This is a great shot. Look at that. Right on his tail comes Keith Agliotti. EBC Brakes and Ridgeway Race Bar. Kawasaki diving to try and find a way through early on. And Adrian van Dalen on the fag. Centurion bike is right there as well. Fantastic. And literally, if they had wing mirrors on, they would have been side by side with those wing mirrors. Now as they head onto that back straightaway for the first time, big fights expected to start happening here. And resuming battles that we saw earlier on, of course, in race number 1. Hazelman in that mid-pack, already into the mix and fighting amongst the usual contenders there. I don't know how close he was there to Jacques Cruz, but Renatos was definitely there with him. So it's pretty much the same battles we saw in race number 1, except at the front end. That's changed up slightly, as you can see. And the reason for that is Brian Bontekoning also with a phenomenal start there on that Jag Power Products bike of his. He's made his way up literally into single digits right from the word go, and potentially up into a top 5 finish if he continues to make the maneuvers he's done so far. They complete the first lap in anger. Sella out front and just controlling things as he has done all season long. The rest of the pack come flying through and finish up a good strong field of just over 20 motorcycles. Vanbredar still hanging on for second, as you can see there on the Stefanuti stocks. And Motul sponsored bike, Amalgam Welding Shop, is Damien Purificati there. And it looks like he's got ahead now of Jason Lamb. So the Time Art East London and Buffalo Services Centre machine has dropped down into the 4 spot. Bit of work there to do for him. Further back, as you can see there, this is Galgocci now pitching it down into turn 2 Cashel corner. Nice run here from Stevie on the MTech Racing Performance bike. And looking very good so far there. The My O2 recovery bike as well that he's on. Looking for a chance to be a little higher up than what he was. Finished down about 17th overall in race number 1, and I'm sure he'd like to be slightly higher up, particularly amongst some more of the B-class competitors that he's supposed to be fighting with. Nice, some slow-mo shots going through there, picking up on a couple of the riders as they went through, and great to see them all fighting hard already. And we've only just started this one. A little bit of a slow start there for Slucky. He's fallen behind and not quite able to catch up that gap just yet. We'll keep an eye and see exactly how they finish up. This is a super run, as I said, from Renatus. And also from Adrian van Dalen. Van Dalen, that slow-mo shot there, fantastic to see him just pitching on the left-hand side of the bike. Remember, on the first couple of laps, you've got to be a little bit wary here at Zwartkops for the left-handers. There's only 3 of them, and they'll catch you out pretty rapidly. Most of them are all right-handers, so those Bridgestones take a little while to warm up on the left-hand side of the bike as opposed to the right-hand side with the amount of corners that you've got to do in the first couple of laps. First 3, not as far up the road from Sella so far. Looks like he's taking it a little bit more easy this time. Maybe giving the guys a bit of a sniff to try and catch the back end of that red bike. That's not an easy thing to do, but certainly he's going to try hard to keep these guys at bay and hopefully be finishing up back on the top step of the podium. Go back to the battle for second there. Vanbredar's definitely being closed down rapidly. Damien Purificati looking for a way through. It looks like Van Dalen starting to close on the back end of Bontekoning as well. And coming along for the ride is Keith Agliotti. He's not too far behind. There's a change up for second into turn 5, eventually sneaking through and finding a way past into that second spot and up into second overall and second in Class A. There goes Damien Purificati. So that Amalgam Welding Shop Kawasaki now into second. There's the gap between himself and the leader. We just saw Sella going through the foreground of that shot. It's now Vanbredar into third. Vanbredar, of course, leads Class B. Right behind him is Jason Lamb. He leads Class C as they cross the line and complete another lap in anger. So it's basically those top 5 riders, and in the top 5, first place in each of the classes are represented at the front end. Nice shot here of Vanbredar trying to close that gap down again, looking for a slightly different line. coming out of turn 2 to close and maybe be able to get back ahead of the 821 bike. He has worked very hard as Damien Purificotti to get through on the multiple champion. Remember, Graham Van Breda has won this championship on numerous occasions. Jar Cruz hasn't done that just yet, neither has Galgocci, but they're looking just as good through Cashville Corner, turn 2. And wow, just turn that bike down a little bit. That is a loud motorcycle in terms of colours, but arguably one of the prettiest bikes out there for Ian Harwood from TRP. And he, of course, is the supplier of our Bridgestone tyres that we run on for this class. So looking good at the back there. Looks like that lunch worked really well. Leaders come through and completes another lap. Looks like a gap opening up there for second. Getting away now slightly from Van Breda is Purificotti, but Purificotti hasn't quite got away completely just yet, because Van Breda is coming back for a little bit of a late race dash here and maybe want to try and sneak things up here into the closing stages. With that said, these two are not too far behind as well, because here comes Jason Lamb, and with him comes Slucky. And what a run there from that K9 security bike. It's a fantastic effort there, and he's right now looking for a way past. Is he going to get through into turn 4? Has a big look. Yes, he does. Wow, Hein McMahon finding something special in the closing stages of race number 2. A little bit of smoke out of the bike though. Is that a concern that we need to be worried about? This is the rear end looking for a way through. He goes up the inside into turn 4, perfectly placed, perfectly timed. Jason Lamb gave me a little bit of room to get through on. Doesn't really have to fight too much there with Hein McMahon, because remember, Hein McMahon is a Class A rider. But if Jason Lamb stays with him, he might be able to use him, and that's probably one of the reasons why Jay let him through. He realizes that maybe Hein's got a slightly better pace, and that'll allow him to close that gap down onto Graham Van Breda, one of his arch rivals in this championship. They've fought harder on a couple of seasons in the past for the overall championship for this category. But this time out, the East London man is sitting behind Slucky and has not really bridged that gap. Purificotti hasn't really been able to get away from Graham Van Breda. So whatever Peak did over the race 1 and race 2 period, it seems to work better. There's Lamb back up inside and sneaking through. Have a look at this. From the rear end of Hein McMahon down into turn 2, Cashville Corner, and open up the door, and Jason Lamb will make him pay. And he made him pay big time there. Sneaking back up into what is now 4th place on track. And that's 1 and 2. Well, 1 is up the road. We haven't really seen much of Kinsella on the King Price Kawasaki, but you can see 2nd place fighting hard for honours there. And then the final step of the podium battle is also just as good, but there's a lot of smoke coming out of Slucky's bike. I'm a bit concerned about that. You have to be very wary on that. I don't think he's seen the smoke yet himself. No one else behind him would have seen it because they're too far back, but there's a change up here. There you go. So Adrian Vandalen now up ahead of the 16 bike, the Jag Power Products bike, moving back 1 position into the clutches there of Keith Agliotti. And as they come down on the brakes, that's the change up for what is now 7, 8 and 9th place, if I'm not mistaken. So single digit fights all the way through. Behind that I think is going to be Safiso Temba. Didn't quite see it from this high angle from our drone, but Safiso Temba's had a fantastic outing here. He really has. Remember, he finished up 2nd place in Class B for race 1, and it looks like he's pretty much on the same song sheet for race number 2. Potentially for a double 2nd place there in Class B's for the IM63 and Wakahina Racing bike. He's getting a little bit of help there, of course, from Zanzi Motorsport and also from Liqui Moly. Dieter Hazeman, of course, gets a lot of help on his race outings from the East Rand Bike and Boat and Adventure Extreme. And I think his good friend was down in pit lane as well, the Juggernaut. Dave helping him out there with the preparation of that very much Ducati-looking-esque Kawasaki of his. Here we go. To the right, flick it over to the left. These 3 are glued together. There really is an awesome little battle unfolding amongst these 3. Not quite sure who's going to have what it takes at the end. Maybe Brian Bontekoning hanging back slightly there before we get into the closing stages. He might have a little late dive on the inside to sneak up and steal the position away. Definitely keep an eye on that. They head down towards turn 2. Maybe he's going to have a look here. He pulls out, but the door is firmly shut and the line was covered there by that awesome little Van Dalen machine. He's on the VAG Automotive Centre, of course, Centurion bike, and the Evolution valves are, of course, helping him out as well. Now heading up to the top of the hill. You can see even through the field, gaps starting to open up there ever so slightly. So those gaps are a little bit wider than what they were. Here comes a possibility of a change up though for one gap that's closed down. As you see Jason Lamb diving on the inside, couldn't quite make it stick. There we go. Let's have a look at it from his point of view. This is Slucky looking at Lamb. Knows he's going to run wide. In fact, big moment there for Jay. Actually lost the back slightly. It stepped out on him. Had to sit it up quickly and avoided going down. that might be, I think, the possibility of his last chance to have a go there at Slucky. But he's got smoke still coming out of the back of that bike, so that's why I think Jason is pushing so hard. I think he's hoping that that motorcycle is going to have a bit of a problem. Hopefully not blow up in his face, because that would be really nice. You don't want to have some whatever oil he's using slapped all over that front visor of that arrow of yours there, Jay. So maybe try and stay out of the smoke if you can. Particularly if it's going to go bang. I don't think it's, well, if it was going to go bang, it probably would have gone bang already. A couple of concerned faces there on the pit wall as well, I think, possibly, because of the smoke that's coming out there. I think the COC will be looking at it at this point in time as well, because there could be a potential problem. It might just be slightly overfilled in terms of oil. That's a bit of smoke came out because of its being a little bit topped up on the liquid stuff that lubricates these motorcycles. Inside line there on the 24 bike, and Ian Harwood is going to be lapped by second place. Kinsella would have passed him a couple of corners ago, and into the closing stages now. Harwood's going to be lapped. There is Sella into turn 2, so that's only the gap that Sella's opened up. It's not as big as what it was in race number 1, but remember, to win a race you only have to win it by the smallest margin, not by the largest margin. The smallest margin still takes the victory, and Sella this time out has been literally inch perfect on every single corner. With the back in the pack as well, we also pick up there on Nico Zitzman. Zitzman having a good ride, possibly top 5 for Class B for Nico Zitzman as well. There's a slightly smaller field of Class Bs here this weekend. It's mainly Class A and Class C competitors that were fighting here at Zwartkops. But needless to say, it's going to be a Class A winner and an overall win once again for that King Price, NGK Spark Plugs and Liqui Moly PS branded Kawasaki of Kinsella. Evil Knievel coming down. Belgocci's going to hang on only just, and I think also Nico Zitzman. The flag will be coming out here for the King Price Kawasaki, and well done, Evil Knievel, with a double victory on the day here. That's securing possibly, I would even say at this point in time, one hand on the championship trophy. Second place is going to go to Purificati. A good ride there from him. He beats out Graham Van Badar, who will take Class B honours. Class A third place goes to Ian McMahon. Here's the battle just behind for second place in a couple of the classes, but mainly for second place in Class C, which Bontekoning will get because Jason Lamb took the victory just up the road from him. But what a ride there from Van Dalen. That'll put him up into the top 5 overall for Class A. So Sella taking the victory. Oh, hello. Purificati doing a Sella behind him. A little bit of fun and games between the two of them. Celebration time, and it's similar celebrations coming out of both riders. But the crowd love it when the motorcycle guys give them a little bit of a wave. And once again, it is Evil Knievel and the king of Kawasaki ZX10 Masters Cup back on the top step. High fives all round from all our riders. They've had a fantastic outing out there for race number 2, and it's been pretty awesome stuff in terms of actions here at Zwartkops for round 3 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. Let's head down now into Park for May and catch up with a couple of our top riders and see how their race 2 went.
On McMahon. Some would say you had a smoking day.
Hey, it's a Smoky Joe, but it works.
How was that race for you?
It was good. I had so much issues throughout the weekend. The bike just didn't want to work, but we forced it. We made it. 3rd for the day in my class. I think 4th overall, so I'm over the moon. I'm happy.
A great battle in the second heat with Jason.
Really good. I love fighting with Jason. It's tussle the whole time. It's awesome. It's really lekker.
There we go. We'll see you stronger at the next one. Clinton Sella, another double.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
How was that?
Yeah, it was good. You know, we had a small little issue in race 1 with the brakes, and Kenan has always sorted it right out. So perfect, yeah. Enjoyed that one. I actually had a lot of fun. I was playing with the bike a bit and enjoyed that. That was good fun.
Awesome, well done. Another dominant victory for you in the King Price Extreme.
Keep rolling.
Kawasaki.
Well done, Jim.
Hi guys, today we watched the racing and it was very fun.
And we're looking forward, of course, to the next round as we head down to the East London Grand Prix circuit for round 4 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. There is confirmation of the results. Kinsella, Damien Purificati and Hein McMahon, your top 3 in Class A. Graham Van Berdal taking Class B ahead of Safiso Temba and Reggie Seal in 3rd place. Class C was all about Jason Lamb. He beats out Brian Bontekoning. And incredibly, it is JLR there in 3rd place for Class C, down in 11th place. Further back on that, some great rides coming out, as we saw from Hazeman, from Finnekirk. Henk Kruger, a welcome return for him. He's going to be happy with that. I'm sure looking forward to getting down to East London. And hopefully we'll get Jar Cruz and Steve Galgocci back into the mix. Looking forward to seeing the return, of course, of Byron Rothwell, Tyron Piper and Darryl Barrington. And maybe a couple of riders from the East Cape will be there as well to be part and parcel of this incredible championship. So once again, it is King Price's King of the Kawasaki's, Kinsella at the top end. Good return there for Steve Galgocci. There are the overall results for round 3. Seller from Purificati, Hein McMahon, and then it was Jason Lamb in 4th place, beating out Graham Van Berdal. That was your top 5 overall for both races here today at Zwartkops. We can't wait to see what's going to happen as we head down to the East London Grand Prix circuit. Arguably one of the riders' favourite circuits to go and race at. And certainly the one that you have to have the biggest balls for, because going through Potter's Pass on a Kawasaki takes some doing.
Hello everyone, come watch round 4 at East London. Hope to see you there.
The 2025 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.